General and Newsmax analyst Matthew Whitaker. Matthew, great to have you back with us.
Hi, John. Good to be with you and Bianca.
So what do you think finally precipitated this move, forcing Thibault to either resign or be asked to leave the Bureau? I mean, what type of stuff actually has to happen to get us to that point?
Well, obviously, there had to be real political bias. The FBI has been accused of putting their thumb on the scale of certain high-profile investigations, including investigations into President Trump and his campaign and his associates versus Joe Biden, his son Hunter, and others in that orbit. But, Chuck Grassley is not prone to hyperbole. For him to use that strong of a language, my home state senator is not happy with what he's found. And I think ultimately the FBI had to take seriously the letters he had written and look into the matter. And they've confirmed that there is a real problem in the Washington field office. And Mr. Thibault is not the only one.
Yeah, and another layer to this, besides possibly suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop, there were reports that he was also getting unvaccinated fellow colleagues out at the FBI because he thought they were Trump supporters. So therein is a whole other mess there, Matt. When you see and you hear that, someone in charge working, possibly having that type of control, what do you make of that accusation against Thibault about getting people ousted?
Yeah, I mean, this is the tip of the iceberg, I think. I think we're going to hear a lot more of these stories. And not only does Congress and the Senate have to do their oversight, Chris Wray needs to get his leadership established. He's been there 5 years now, and he seems to continue to be dogged by these not only claims of political partisanship within the FBI, but actual examples of political partisanship within the FBI. It is, I would say that his leadership right now is in crisis, and, he either is surrounding himself with the wrong people, or there's still just too many Comey-like and Comey-affiliated people that remain in the FBI, and the political bias, is becoming more and more obvious.
Yeah, because we expect, Matthew, that these agents are going to be above personal, petty kind of grievances. And what we're seeing is this Trump derangement syndrome that's been weaponized inside the DOJ. This guy seems like the kind of case study of that. The fact that he's leaving is evidence of that as well. Let's also talk about this hearing with the special master situation. We're supposed to get some more information on that, but the DOJ telling the judge there, Eileen Cannon, that they've already completed their review of these seized documents. So what do you think? I mean, it seemed like the judge was inclined to have this special master, but the DOJ seems somewhat reluctant. What's your read on all this?
Yeah, the judge indicated through filings on Saturday that she was most likely had a preference to appoint a special master. DOJ had until Tuesday, today, to not only object to that and provide arguments against that, but also provide a more detailed inventory of what was taken during the execution of the search warrant. And then Thursday, there's going to be a hearing. I think this judge, again, out of an abundance of caution and also for true transparency, will appoint an independent third party, probably a former judge with impeccable credentials, to go through not only the search warrant and its issuance, but also what was grabbed, because we already know that the president's passports were grabbed inconsistent with the search warrant, but also we know that attorney-client privilege documents were part of this haul, which the government should never have their hands on. So I think, again, full transparency is necessary. Not only that, but we need to also make sure that this investigation, if that's really what it is and not just an attempt to get documents that the archives felt entitled to, that this is, for an unprecedented investigation like this, that it is extraordinary, the reasoning behind the actual investigation.
Yeah, it does look like Judge Cannon is trying to, dot every I, cross every T. And some have said maybe the warrant that was signed was too broad. And, we don't know. The affidavit was so redacted. But, we could go back to that too, Matt, and say maybe she's trying to pull back a little. What's done is done here. But what is your take on that? That maybe, we just will never know exactly what was in there.
Well, remember, Bianca, Judge Cannon sits above Judge Reinhart. Judge Reinhart's a magistrate, has authority and responsibility for certain pieces and parts, including search warrants. But Judge Cannon is ultimately the presidentially appointed Senate-confirmed judge. And so I would expect that she is going to continue to exert some oversight and interest in this case and may just take it over ultimately.
One more thing to talk to you about too, Matt. The White House says that it is, quote, appropriate that the FBI and the DOJ are reviewing potential national security risks if President Trump took these documents. But how can we be sure about this? And how do we know that they aren't just depositing more information out there to make it look like President Trump did something wrong?
Yeah, John, you're right in the fact that we don't know enough to actually form a legitimate opinion. But, it is appropriate if there were classified documents or defense, secrets, that those would be reviewed to see what they were. And the real question, though, is, it's a hypothetical. If this gets out, then what would have happened, because there's no allegations that any of these documents got out, and also there's no evidence that these were possessed inappropriately by President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. So this is a case that I think, again, is the leaks are shameful, need to stop. DOJ needs to quit trying this case in the court of public opinion and actually do the hard work of if they're going to try to make a case.
Yeah, well, they say it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. But in this situation, we don't know anything about, no allegations of a crime yet, but they're trying to make the allegations of a cover-up after the fact. It just seems like the whole thing is falling apart while we wait for more information, Matt, and a lack of transparency from Christopher Wray and from Merrick Garland. The clock is ticking, guys. We need to know.
It's a busy week with a lot of deadlines and hearings, as you mentioned and laid out, so we're watching it minute by minute.
Great to see you, Matt. All right, President Biden.